Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about the look-back strategy. It's a strategy used to increase reading performance and answering comprehension questions. What is the look-back strategy? The look-back strategy is when the student goes back to the reading passage to find the answer. Why should we use the look-back strategy? Well, there was a study done by Gardner, Hare, Alexander, Hayes, and Vingrad. And what they found in their research is that by using the look-back strategy, it actually increased a student's overall reading performance and answers. So how is the look-back strategy implemented in the classroom with all students? Well, that's what I'd like to model for you today. There's a series that has to happen, a series of steps that have to happen before we even get to the look-back strategy. So one of the first things that we have to do is we actually have to preview the story. So I have a story from the QRI assessment that I'm going to use to model this strategy here with you today. So if we were to preview the story, what I would do is I would actually look, I would say, okay, the title here is Seasons, and then I would preview each paragraph. So there are 4 seasons in a year. It also talks about the different seasons in each paragraph. They talk about summer, then they talk about fall, then they talk about winter. So they're talking about each season. So that's what I know is going to be happening in this story. So if I'm looking at previewing the questions, if I were to look at these questions, okay, one of the questions reads, how many seasons are there in a year? Okay, great. Number 2, how long does each season last? Number 3, when does summer begin? So these questions I'm thinking about as I'm reading the story. So I'm going to read the story to you, and then we are going to use that look-back strategy after I'm finished reading. So there are 4 seasons in a year. They are spring, summer, fall, and winter. Each season lasts about 3 months. Spring is the season when new life begins. The weather becomes warmer. Warm weather, rain, and light make plants grow. Some plants that look dead during the winter grow again. Tulips and plants that come up every spring. Summer begins on June 20th for people who live in the United States. June 20th is the longest day of the year for us. We have more sunlight that day than on any other day. Insects come out in summer. One bug that comes out in summer likes to bite. The bite hurts and it itches. Do you know what that bug is? It's the deer fly. Summer ends and fall begins during September. In fall, we continue to get less light from the sun. In the north, leaves begin to die, and when they die, they turn brown. Then they fall off. Nuts fall from the trees, and they are saved by squirrels to eat in the winter. Winter begins just a few days before Christmas. December 21st is the shortest day of the year for us. We have less light that day than on any other day. In winter, many animals have to live on food that they stored in the fall. There are no green plants for the animals to eat. Winter ends when spring begins on March 20th, and the seasons keep changing. Plant life begins and ends each year. So if I were to go back doing the look-back strategy, my first question was, how many seasons are there in a year? Okay. So in my first paragraph, I find that there are 4 seasons in a year. So looking at this, that would be my answer. And I would just put a little number 1 so that it signifies that it's question number 1. Looking at number 2, how long does each season last? Okay, well, I'm looking here and I find it in that paragraph. Each season lasts about 3 months. Okay, and after that, I would put a little number 2. And all of this is being highlighted and each question is being identified in the passage. So when does summer begin? All right, so looking here, oh, summer begins on June 20th. So there is another answer to one of those questions. So that's how you would actually implement the look back strategy in reading. I do have a student with me here today that is also going to model the look back strategy. Okay, Lawson?
Sorry.
All right, that's okay. So we're looking here. Okay, and I want you to preview the story, please.
Whales and fish is the title. I think the first paragraph is about whales and fish. I think the second paragraph is about mother whales that give birth to little whales. And I think the third paragraph is whales and fish and how they are alike.
Okay, so what I want you to do now is I actually want you to look at the questions with me. Okay, I'm right over here. Where do whales and fish live? That's question number 1. How do whales breathe in air? And what part of whales and fish are alike? All right, so I want you to read this passage today.
Whales and fish. Whales and fish both live in water, but they are different in many ways. Whales are large animals that live in the water. Even though whales live in the water, they must come to the top of the water to get air. When they come to the top of the water, whales breathe in air through the hole in the top of their heads. At the same time, they blow out old air. Whales don't get air like fish. Fish take in air from the water. Mother whales give birth to live whales. The baby whale must come to the top of the water right away for air. The baby drinks milk from its mother for about a year. Then it finds its own food. Fish have babies in different way. Most mother fish lay eggs. The babies are born when the eggs hatch. Right after they are born, the baby fish must find their own food. Whales and fish are alike in some ways too. Whales and fish have flippers on their sides. They also have fins on their tails. Flippers and fins help whales and fish swim. Fins move and push the water away.
Okay, very good. So here's the highlighter. And what I want you to do is find in the story where do whales and fish live. Okay, so you put the number 1 there for question 1 that you're answering. And you also have whales are large animals that live in the water. So that is the correct answer to question 1. Okay, let's look at question 2. How do whales breathe in air? Okay, very good. So what you picked there as an answer, and this is correct as well. When they come to the top of the water, whales breathe in air through a hole in the top of their heads. Very good. So we're looking at question 3. What part of whales and fish are alike? Okay, where can you find that in the passage? Okay, so you signified this was the answer to question 3, and you've highlighted whales and fish have flippers on their sides. They also have fins on their tails. And if you also look here, Lawson, it gives you that sentence, whales and fish are alike in some ways too.
Okay.
So, no, this is good. So it also gives you more information as well. So it gives you that they have, what makes them alike is they have flippers and tails. And this sentence here, it tells you how they are alike as well. All right, so that concludes our look back strategy. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.